Alright survivors, we need to talk, because ARK 2 has effectively just been pushed back again, and if you're hoping and waiting for the sequel, you're now looking at 2028 at the earliest. Here's the twist: while ARK 2 gets delayed, Wildcard has set up a 2-year pipeline in Survival Ascended that's basically going to test drive ARK 2 features before the sequel even launches. So in this video, I'm going to break down why ARK 2 is now 2028, what Wildcard are doing instead, and why this might be an interesting and safe idea that Wildcard need to make. So if you've been following ARK 2 at all, you already know the vibe. Announced years ago, huge trailer, big expectations, and a lot of waiting. Now we've got clearer messaging coming out of Wildcard and from the franchise roadmap, discussions around ARK Survival Ascended and Lost Colony, and the headline is simple: ARK 2 is planned for 2028. Not might, not maybe, the wording being used is that is the intention right now. And yeah, this is bad news if you wanted ARK 2 soon. But let's get into actually what is going on, because it's more interesting than delay equals fail. So these rumours aren't just random rumours. This comes out of the franchise roadmap connected to the Snail Games Investor Day and recently put in the community crunch, and an extended discussion with the Wildcard team, including Jeremy, about how they're planning to bridge from Survival Ascended towards ARK 2. And the big takeaway is that Wildcard is de-risking ARK 2 by moving a chunk of the sequel systems into Ascended expansion first, so they can test them live, get feedback, and iterate on them. Translation: they'd rather take the hit on time than ship a sequel that misses. So here's the logic that they're operating with. An expansion can be a hit or miss and you recover. A whole sequel that misses, that's franchise threatening. So Wildcard's approach is build the tech and mechanics in phases, prove them in live environment, then launch ARK 2 when the foundation is solid. That's what you're seeing: heavy focus on Survival Ascended's pipeline, major engine upgrades, and an end of 2027 expansion that basically bridges into ARK 2, and that's also why 2028 is suddenly the target, because they're not just making a new ARK, they're trying to reset the entire gameplay direction. So let's talk about the part most people forget. ARK 2 isn't meant to be Genesis 3 with more lasers. Wildcard have talked about ARK 2 as a primitive gameplay reset, more grounded survival, smaller groups, more physical combat focus, and less of the endgame insanity creep that ARK became known for. And honestly, that's a massive design gamble, because ARK's audience is split. Some people love the tech and the tech tier space vibes, and others want raw dino survival and tribe wars feel again. ARK 2 is aiming to bring that back down to something more primal, and it's still in the ARK universe, which is exactly why they want to test mechanics before launching a full sequel. Here's where the video turns from bad news to okay, that's actually huge. Because while ARK 2 waits until 2028, Survival Ascended is getting a stacked 2026 to 2027 roadmap that keeps the franchise moving forward. We're talking about Survival of the Fittest returning in a bigger way, Bob's True Tales Tide of Fortune, the pirate-themed DLC tied into Genesis Part 1, ARK World Creator basically pushing creation tools closer to making stuff inside the game, Dragontopia later into 2026, Atlantis in 2027, Bob's True Tales Galaxy Wars, which is Genesis Part 1, and then the big one, the Legacy of Santiago in late 2027, the expansion designed to seed ARK 2 and test ARK 2-like mechanics. So yes, ARK 2 is delayed, but ASA is becoming the proving ground. Now let's hit the technical side, because it actually matters to the ARK 2 delay conversation. So Wildcard has talked about the Unreal Engine 5.7 upgrade for Survival Ascended, which was meant to be coming late March but has now been told it's going to be April, with major performance gains, and they've floated roughly around 30 to 40% improvements in the CPU and GPU performance. If that lands cleanly, it's a huge deal for stability and performance, console performance targets, and even long-term platform expansions like for the Switch 2. And here's the most important part. If ASA is the live lab for ARK 2 mechanics, ASA needs to run well. So investing in engine performance makes the bridge to ARK 2 strategy way more realistic. So let's be real, the bad news is that ARK 2 is no longer soon. If you were hoping for 2026 or 2027, that's basically off the table. And 2028 planned still means it's a target, not a promise. But here's the upside. Wildcard's new strategy implies ARK 2 won't launch in a vacuum. Instead of here's a totally new game, hope you like it, it becomes here are the systems tested and iterated in ASA, and now here's ARK 2 with the full narrative and content scale. This is the safest way to do a sequel of this size. And then there's one more wrinkle people keep bringing up, Vin Diesel. A lot of the early ARK 2 marketing leaned into him, but more recent discussion suggests his level of involvement is still a variable, and that can affect how ambitious the narrative delivery is. Which is honestly another reason why Wildcard are building flexibility into the plan, and is also why characters like Bob, Carl Urban, being used more heavily in ASA is interesting, because it gives them more narrative tools regardless of who is available and when. As you can imagine, Vin Diesel is probably very busy, and maybe he's sick of the ARK bugs. So yeah, ARK 2 just got some bad news, and 2028 is now the target. But at the same time, ARK's next 2 years are absolutely loaded, and it looks like Wildcard are building a bridge that could actually make ARK 2 land stronger when it finally arrives. Now I want to ask you, would you rather wait until 2028 for a better ARK 2, or do you feel like this sequel has been delayed for so long that it's losing momentum? Hypixel Studios, who just released Hytale, did it in a completely different way, where they released Hytale into a very early access and are going to be working on it over time, but the players still get to try it out. What do you think seems better? And also, which part of the 2026 and 2027 roadmap are you most excited for? Tides of the Fortune with Genesis Part 1, Dragontopia, Atlantis, Genesis Part 2 Galaxy Wars, or the Legacy of Santiago? If you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Lights out.